Hey, it's Michael from Church Fuel, and I wanted to record just a simple video for you about how I believe your church can really grow and what you should work on. As you can tell, this is not a fancy video. In fact, I'm standing outside my home office, my backyard back here. You can see my chicken coop that I'm working on in the background over there, and we've got some chickens coming. We're gonna have some backyard chicken. So we got some day-old chicks coming in about a week. So we've been getting the coop ready, and I love our backyard. It's peaceful. But I wanted to step outside and just shoot a video for you, to just talk to you about your church for a few minutes. Earlier this week, I had a coaching call. We create a bunch of online resources and do a bunch of stuff to resource the church. But one of my favorite things to do is actually work one-on-one with some churches. And I had about an hour and a half phone call this past week with the church. They're actually a small church, and they're relaunching, and they really want to grow. They've got big plans and big vision, and they're rolling out some new stuff and some new ministries. And it's been an honor just to be able to walk with them over the last several months, almost like a quasi staff person, but kind of from the outside, speaking into systems and processes and opportunities, and just helping the church. And this particular church I was talking to, they have so many opportunities in front of them. And as we were talking, I just tried to encourage them and say, listen, sometimes so many opportunities can actually hinder us because we have so much stuff to do that we kind of shrink back and we don't do anything. Or we want to wait till we get it all right, and we don't want to have a whole bunch of people show up and it's not right, and then they have a bad experience. And so a lot of times opportunities and so many things that we need to work on, or so many things that we need to fix, can actually hinder us. And I don't know if your church is that way. As you kind of look around your ministries, your programs, your services, your staff, you may start to list off, man, we need work on this, and just go down this long list of stuff you need work on. And so from time to time, churches will come to me and they'll just say, help us understand, what do we need to do first? What do we need to do first? And I want to encourage you with something in this video that you can do that is really, really, really important. It's one of the first systems I think you should work on or fix or get right in your church. And the good news about the system is that even though it's so important and it basically touches everything in your church, it's absolutely free to fix. You don't need more staff. You don't need a bigger building. You don't need a bunch of money. You don't need to hire somebody. This system, if you'll work on this, it's free to fix, but it makes a huge difference. And how I want to encourage you is if you're pastoring a church, maybe you're under 200 and you're trying to get over that 200 hump. And I don't know that there's anything magical about 200. It's just a number we all say to just grow past 200. It seems like if you can get past 200, you can keep growing. And so 200 may become this maybe this glass ceiling type thing in the church where we're just trying to get to. But if you're trying to grow your church to reach more people and expand the kingdom, I want to encourage you to work on this thing. It's free, but it's really powerful, and it's this. The system that I think you ought to work on first is actually planning church services. Planning church services. And I was talking with this church that I'm working with. They're trying to do all these things, all these big important things. But the thing that we actually do every week, every Sunday, I mean, maybe you have every Sunday at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, you have a church service. Well, what is your system for planning a service? How do you make sure that it's good? How do you make sure that it's getting better? Because most people are going to experience your church for the first time when they come on Sunday. So how can you make your church service better? Because here's what happens. We all get in a rut. We get together, we sing some songs, we have a message, and if you're the senior pastor, all of your service work is probably sermon work. And so all the things that you're doing to kind of, all the time and what you're putting into the weekend is actually going into your sermon. And that's fantastic. That's great. But how about your service? When people come, they don't just come to your sermon. They come to the service. So how can you make your service better? So here's how I challenge the church that I'm working with. I said, listen, I know you're busy. I know you got tons of things to do. And big churches, they may have some staff, and they get together every week, and they can plan this stuff and do this creative stuff and make these videos and do all this stuff. Well, you got a lot of stuff to do. You don't have all this staff, and you don't have all that budget yet. What can you do? So here's what my suggestion was to them, and also to you, is once a month, just get together and plan your services. Now, I would come into a meeting like that with about 5 or 6 people. If you have a person leading worship, I'd bring them. I'd have somebody leading worship, and you can invite a few volunteers or key leaders to this meeting. It's just a once-a-month meeting. You can do it on a Thursday night. You can do it on a Sunday night. One night a month. That's it. Where you come into the meeting, and for about it needs to last about 2 hours, and for about the first 30 minutes, you look back on the last months of church services. Maybe your last series or your last 4 weeks, and you go, okay, what worked? What didn't work? What connected? What didn't connect? Where did people hear from God? Where did they maybe get lost in the weeds? What was good? What was bad? What can we improve? Where you evaluate. See, most churches do church services and never evaluate. They never look back and say, what was good? What was bad? What should we fix? What should we keep doing? So spend some time and listen. That's where volunteers, you can invite them in, and it's so helpful. Just listen to them. Ask them, hey, what did you like? What did you not like? What connected with you? What didn't connect with you? And so listen, evaluate. But then you spend the next 90 minutes looking ahead. And you come into that meeting, you say, okay, look, here's the next 4 topics. Here's the next series. Here's what I'm going to talk about. Here's maybe the main idea. You don't have to have all the messages written a month in advance, but you can say, here's the passage and here's the point, right? Here's the scripture we're going to talk about, and here's the statement. Here's like the one thing. And you can sit there and you can go column by column. Sometimes a big whiteboard or an Excel spreadsheet is helpful. You can go column by column to say, all right, if this is the point, if this is the takeaway, what songs can we sing? How are we going to set up the giving? How are we going to set up the worship? What are the announcements? And it may be announcement. That would be one thing, right? What's the one announcement that we want? Who's doing the announcement? Who's setting up the giving? How can we tell a volunteer story, right? You can look at it at a glance and go, where can we be more creative? Where can we find a video? You know, people from the outside can come into that meeting and go, hey, this thing looks like it's stuck in a rut because it's following the same pattern. Where can we put some creativity? Where can we put some energy? And with just a little bit of time and planning, with a little bit of evaluation and a little bit of planning, your church services can go from, whatever level they're at, they can take like 2 steps forward. And when you have a better church service, and I'm not talking about just better, like just to be quiet, I'm talking about better, more God-focused, where people can hear from God more, where stories are being told, where life changes is being celebrated. When you have a better church service, when you just work on the church service and the church service gets better, so many other things in your church get better. And you can do this. There's lots of ways to do it, but one of the simplest ways I know how to do it is simply have a monthly service meeting where you evaluate, where you look back, and where you look ahead and say, what can we do in these next few weeks? Here's what we're going to talk about. What can we do to make it meaningful? What can we do to make it matter? How can we get better? And service planning is one of those systems that I would start with. So many times we want to just get more people in the door. Like, how do we reach more people? How do we get more people to come? How do we attract more guests? Service planning, when you look at it, you're going, well, once they come, what are they going to experience? And for some of us, we need to shore up our service before we worry about bringing a whole bunch of new people into the system, into the service, into the church. And so this is just one of the things that you can work on. If I was leading a church under 200, I was trying to grow, I would work on my service. And that's one of the things that's really, really important. We actually talk a lot about this in our course that we have called Breaking 200. And I'd love to invite you to participate in this course. In fact, we priced the course so that churches under 200 in size, without the big budgets and without the big staff, can participate. And so people will email me and like, can we get the small church discount? The answer is absolutely. Everybody gets the small church discount for the course. It's so practical. It's so useful. And helping you have better church services is one of the 7 systems that we talk about. Now, I know you've watched this video and hopefully this has been helpful to you. And if you want to dive in deeper and work on this and the other 6 systems that we talk about in the course, I wanted to try to make it a no-brainer for you. And so I talked to Rob. Rob is kind of the manager, runner of Church Fuel. He does a lot of the work and resources of so many pastors. And Rob and I talked just this last week, and we said, how can we want to offer this to pastors? We want pastors to be in this course because it's so valuable. Honestly, we're getting emails and feedback from people saying, I love it. That was revolutionary. That's changing the culture in our church. And so we want you to have it. And so I talked to Rob, and we kind of agreed to do this. And it's not something we do often. But if you'll jump in before Sunday at midnight into the course, if you'll enroll in the course before Sunday at midnight, not only will we give you instant access to the whole Breaking 200 course, we've got another course all about church marketing. It's all about how you can build your reputation in the community, how you can build influence, and actually leverage that influence to actually invite people into church. And so you don't see this kind of stuff from us often, but if you jump into Breaking 200, we're actually going to give you our church marketing course for free. And so you'll get the Breaking 200 course, which is where you should start. But then maybe you can hand the church marketing course to somebody else. Even a key volunteer can implement some of those things. And those 2 things together, I believe they could really, really set your church up for a ton of growth. But so we're not going to you're not going to see this publicly on our website. I'm just talking to you about it today. And so if you go and grab the Breaking 200 course, with the link that I sent you, you'll get that course, but you'll also get the church marketing course as well. And so it's like that. It would be a great time to do it if you've been thinking about it. The course is fantastic. We're really proud of it. I think it'll help your church not just have better services, what we talked about by just evaluating and planning. We'll give you the tools to actually do that. And then we jump into several other systems that would really help your church reach more people and make a bigger impact. So listen, thank you so much for just watching. I know you got all kinds of stuff to do, but you watched this video and you've watched till the end. So we're here for you. We're in your corner. We love the local church. We love pastors. Anything we can do to help you, please let us know. And if you can jump into the Breaking 200 course before Sunday at midnight and get this other course kind of thrown in, that'd be fantastic. I think it'd be a great value to you. So thanks for watching, and God bless.